Today on the RepubliKen Talk Show, we're going to be talking about the Hunter Biden trial, the Bianca Ellis trial, and Christians who've gotten murdered by an ISIS group, and more. Stay tuned for this episode for more of that. Welcome to the Talk Show, everybody. I am your host, Kenneth Glenn, and today we're going to be talking about the Hunter Biden trial. So, for a long time, Trump's been going through all of these different criminal courts and criminal cases, and they've been trying to do everything in their power to basically make Trump a criminal. They're trying to make him look bad because Trump is winning all of the polls right now. He has all the swing states won, and he's winning majority of the polling. He has more funding, and he has more support overall. And the Democrats are trying to do everything in their power to take it away from him. And they recently convicted Trump on 34 felony accounts. And, everyone just ignored it.
Dodson, we've got Dodson here. See, nobody cares.
Because it's just garbage. And everyone knows it's garbage. So now their new sham is the Hunter Biden trial, where Hunter Biden was found guilty and could face up to 25 years in prison for his crimes. So, for those of you who didn't watch the show the other day, I talked about Hunter Biden, who's potentially getting charged, and he did end up getting charged, for a felony gun charge. He bought a gun and lied on the registration. And this is another sham trial. The reason why I say it's another sham trial is because this is trying to legitimize the Trump conviction. The initial Trump conviction has not really been legitimized because everyone knows it's garbage. Okay, it's so garbage that no one even really knows what he was even charged for. Nobody knows. The charge was never even clear in the first place. It's clear what they are accusing him of, but it's not clear of what he actually did. It's not clear how the conclusion got to where it got. So this comes from the New York Post. It says, 2 of the jurors who convicted first son Hunter Biden on federal gun charges Tuesday told the Post that they were particularly affected by his eldest daughter Naomi's testimony, with one panelist saying defense team made a mistake calling her as a witness. Yeah, that's a very bad idea. They're probably thinking that she would protect him and try to make him seem like he's a good guy and trying to protect him, when at the end of the day she didn't. And it ended up working against them. Naomi Biden, who's 30 years old, recounted her father's erratic behavior in the days after he legally lied about his crack cocaine addiction to purchase a .38 caliber revolver on October 12th, 2018. At one point, she said Hunter had texted her at 2 a.m. on October 18th asking Naomi if Naomi could meet him somewhere in Manhattan, exchange cars after he used his Ford Raptor pickup truck to help move her then boyfriend, Peter Neal, into her apartment. "I'm really sad, Dad," Naomi texted Hunter later that day after he missed out on another planned rendezvous. I'm not sure what's going on there. Quote, "I can't take this. I don't know what to say. I just miss you so much, and I want to hang out with you. It just seems so bad that to see his father in such a state. And one juror, a 50-year-old black woman from Upper Delaware, told the Post she was happy when she thought he was getting better. Then he relapsed. But I think she probably just wants her dad to be like he was before her uncle. Her uncle died. So basically, the juror is alluding to the fact that Hunter's has not been the same since Beau Biden died. She added, and to be able to depend on him. So this article is going through the jury's thoughts on the case. A second juror, a 68-year-old white man from Sussex County, agreed with Naomi's testimony was effective, but not in the way Hunter's lawyers had hoped. I felt sorry for Naomi, I really did, he said. I don't think any daughter should have to be up here there testifying on her father's behalf. That was heart-wrenching, and I think that the jurors felt the same thing. As you can imagine, imagine you're the person, the son of the governor and the mayor of the person who's like well known in your city, the person who built your city and built your state up pretty much, and the son of that person is this drug addict, and now you're hearing his daughter basically talk about how her relationship with her father is just super terrible. When asked if lead defense attorney Abby Lowell made the wrong move by calling Naomi to the stand, the Sussex County juror confessed that he probably wouldn't have called her. The jury was also swayed by damning text messages between Hunter Biden and his sister-in-law turned lover, Haley, which is the other weird thing about this case. So Hunter Biden was dating and romantically involved with Beau Biden's ex-wife, Beau Biden's widow. And he got with her. Not only is that weird on Haley's side, but that's very weird on Hunter's side. So you have a man here who is dating the widowed wife of his brother. That is super weird, extremely weird. When Haley Biden took the stand, for the prosecution last week, she was shown text messages from October 13th, 2018. Hey, that's my birthday. The day after Hunter bought the gun, in which he told her he was waiting for a dealer named Mookie in response to her asking where he was. On the first count, the lying to a federally licensed gun dealer count, there was a little holdout. The juror explained the way the question on the form, the way it was phrased, he didn't intentionally know he was a drug user. Or did he intentionally know he was a drug user? The person wasn't convinced on that. One person really wasn't convinced on that. Both jurors said they felt bad for Biden family throughout the testimony, which traced Hunter's spiral into addiction. Which, you gotta admit, no matter what side of the political aisle you're on, that is deeply sad. Okay, drug use is a big problem. Drug addictions are a big problem. When I looked at First Lady Jill Biden, I really felt bad for the family, and that the family had listened to everything that was said in Sussex County. Juror admitted, I don't know if the family knew all the details about what Hunter had been through, and I don't think Hunter revealed anything he had gone through. I'm sure it was a shock to them, he noted, which I don't think it is at all. I don't think this was a big shock at all. I'm pretty sure the Biden family knew everything. Despite their testimony, however, the patients insisted that politics did not factor in their decision. I'm sure it didn't. I'm sure there was no political affiliation with this trial at all. All right, moving on. So, a woman by the name of Bianca Ellis was giggling in court over her sentencing, and we're going to play that clip right now.
Section 2903.11A1 and or endangering children in violation of Ohio Revised Code Section 2919.22B2. Count 4 alleges that on or about June 3, 2024, the defendant did knowingly cause serious physical harm to J.W. on date of birth 10/29/2020.
So that clip is deeply disturbing. I don't know how you could watch that clip and just think that everything's fine, and that clip is deeply disturbing. And that clip becomes even more disturbing when you find out that what she did. So, Bianca Ellis is accused of allegedly fatally stabbing a 3-year-old Julian Wood in a parking lot of a Giant Eagle grocery store in North Olmsted, Ohio last week. Okay, so this woman stabbed a 3-year-old to death. A defenseless 3-year-old to death. And this is a black woman stabbing a white child. Now, if these roles were reversed, this would be national headlines. But they're not. The roles were not reversed. These are not national headlines. Nobody cares. According to authorities, Ellis allegedly stole 2 knives from the Volunteer of America store and then walked next door to the grocery store where she spotted Margaret Wood pushing her 3-year-old son, Julian, in a cart. Investigators say Wood was returning to her cart when Ellis ran at them with a knife and stabbed the child. So, I don't know why she stabbed the child. I don't think it really matters. She should just get the death penalty anyway. Just straight up. I think any murder, attempted murder, anything like that should just be automatic death. I don't know how this is the case. And she's proud of this. So this psychopath, this absolute psychopath, is proud of what she did, so much so that she smiled about it in the courtroom. When Margaret tried to pull the child to safety, Ellis allegedly stabbed her as well. Margaret was injured but survived the attack. Authorities have said they believe the victims were randomly targeted. Not a big surprise there, seeing as the context here. After her appearance in court last week, Bianca Ellis' case was moved to Cuyahoga County, where it was twice ground to a halt during her arraignment on Monday. So I'm not sure what that means. I'm not familiar with that terminology. I'm guessing that means that it was stopped. I'm going to take a wild guess. First-time judge Nancy Russo spoke to Ellis. She refused to acknowledge the judge and answer questions. In the second video appearance before the judge, she said she did not know. You didn't know what? Like, come on now. Stop being so immature. I think that we should be a lot harsher on criminals. Oh, you don't want to answer the judge's questions? Okay, we're going to add 10 years on your prison sentence. And for every time you don't answer one of my questions, we're going to add 10 more years. Done. That simple. Oh, but the right to remain silent. That's only if you're being interrogated by the police. You don't get the right to remain silent in the courtroom. You no longer get that right once you're in the courtroom. If her indictment had been read to her, Russo said, based on the indictment, this case could have become a death penalty case, which it already should be. Okay? There's really not a trial here. There's no argument here. Okay? This woman went out of her way, attacked these two people who were at a grocery store with a knife. After stealing those knives, quite honestly, she shouldn't have even been arrested. She should have just been shot on sight by the cops. But if she was, there have been BLM riots and protests, as always. And the mother of Bianca Ellis would have been like, oh, she was such a nice person, and she always volunteered at the soup kitchen and stuff. That's how that would have went. And we all know it. An attorney attempted to waive the rights to arrangement. But the judge responded and said, this could be a capital murder case. I don't think that's appropriate. For Ellis's third attempt at arrangement, the court brought her downstairs to face the judge in person. First of all, I don't know why it's inappropriate, or that's not appropriate for it to be a capital murder case or a death penalty. It should just be all of it. She attacked and stabbed a defenseless 3-year-old who was the opposite race as her, by the way. So you could argue that it's a hate crime, but it's not, because black people have an abundance of privilege in this country. Let's be real. They do. Ellis refused to acknowledge her indictment and stated that she did not want to read it or have her attorney read it to her. So what you do in this situation, what they should do, is you're going to handcuff her to the cell. You're going to handcuff her arms through the cell, and then you're going to force her to listen to you read it. And she stays there until she fully understands the indictment. I didn't think it was that difficult, really. That's what they should do. Russo read the indictment out loud, and Ellis could be seen smiling while listening to the allegations leveled against her, because she's an absolute psychopath. When Russo asked if Ellis was going to plead not guilty at first, she giggled and said, "See." So she laughably said that she was going to plead not guilty after stabbing a 3-year-old to death. That is absolutely disgusting. Instead of responding with yes or no, she eventually... So instead of saying yes or no, she said sí, like the Spanish word for yes. She eventually said yes. Before Russo set bail, Julian Woods, the father of Jared Woods, spoke on the behalf of his family. Your Honor, this is the quote, "Your Honor, the day 1 week ago, she took everything from us," Woods said. "There is nothing that could ever replace my son or anything that my wife or I or even my other kids are going through. It's horrendous," Woods told the judge. "Do whatever you can to keep this monster behind bars," and asked the judge to deny bail, as the judge should. So yeah, that's a sick and twisted case. I don't know what was really going on here, but this is disgusting. Why she would act like that and smile like it's some achievement. She achieved victory over something, or she's proud of something, as if she beat up her abusive father or whatever. But no, she stabbed the 3-year-old and was smiling about it. That's disgusting, and I hope she gets put underneath the jail. Not in prison, under the prison. Moving on. So, there was a video on Twitter recently that has gone viral. A woman by the name of Lily on Twitter has come under hot water for posting a video saying the N-word. You know, that word that was perfectly normal 5 minutes ago, and now all of a sudden become a big issue. The word was so normal 30 years ago that it was even used on the Congress floor. It was used in Congress like it was a comma. It was used in movies and comedy skits all the time. Here's a clip of our very president saying that same exact word in Congress.
Quote, "We already have a nigger mayor. We don't need any more nigger big shots." And the court cited evidence of discriminatory.
But for whatever reason, the black community decided to make it their word. It's their word and no one else can use it. Only they are able to say that word. It's because it's a bad word. Remember, you're not allowed to say it because it is a bad word. This word's so bad, in fact, that it's used in every single day language. It's like another way to greet each other. It's another way to say hello. But it's so bad that you're not allowed to say it. If you're not black or half black, you're not allowed to say it. Nobody else, because if anyone else says it, it's offensive. If a black person says it, though, perfectly fine, perfectly legal. Which doesn't make a lot of sense because no other group's ever done this before. There's never been another group on the planet who've said, this is our word, and if you say this word, you're the racist or you're the one that's against this group of people, but we can say it all we want. There's never been another group in history who's ever done that. The African American community is the first person that has done that. Okay? Like, think about it. When was the last time you heard somebody with Down syndrome walk up to another person who has a mental handicap and go, "What's up, my R word?" When was the last time you heard a Jewish person walk up to another Jewish person and go, "What's up, my K word?" Yet, black people say it all the time. They say the N word all the time when greeting each other. And, you know, this issue has gone so far that even black people are allowed to use the two slurs I just mentioned. So people with Down syndrome are not allowed to use the N word, but people who are African American can say the R word or the K word. Jewish people can't say the N word either, but black people can say the K word. Perfectly fine, perfectly legal. No one's going to lose their job over it. It's gone so far that they use any slur. And why is that? Why is that exactly? Is it because black people were slaves at one point? Because they were slaves? Because if that's the case, every single person, every group of people in history has been enslaved at one point. Jewish people were slaves in Egypt. Christians were galley slaves, which historians argue were the worst kind of slaves to be. They were literally chained to the floor of boats, forced to row these boats, and in battle they'd be hit by cannons, and their flesh would be burnt off because of the sun, and they'd literally have to sit there in their own pee and feces because that was what they were forced to do. Yet, we all know that it's okay to mock and make fun of Christians all we want. And there's nothing against that. No one would ever relate you as a person who would have a galley slave if you say things offensive towards Christians. However, you say anything offensive towards the African American community because they were enslaved before, big problem. We have a big problem. White people have been enslaved in the past too. They're enslaved around the same time as black people in America. And heck, black people have even owned white slaves. But are we supposed to expect this kind of reaction if a black person uses a white racial slur? Nope. If a black person uses a slur like vanilla, gorilla, or cracker, nobody cares. Actually, there's a trend on the same platform that banned Lily for using the N-word, where black people go on and say, what's your favorite white slur? And they go on saying their favorite slurs against white people. But the double standards supersede that. A black man yesterday was recorded saying to a bunch of Jewish people that, quote, I wish Hitler was here. He would have wiped all of you out. I'm going to play that clip now.
Well, yeah, killing people. You have nothing better
I wish
to do.
Hitler was still here.
Oh, how freaking nuts.
I wish Hitler was still here. He would have wiped all y'all out.
I'm saying it was something worse. You're not working. I'm
He would have wiped all y'all out.
So yeah, a black person can say that, and none of the cancel culture SJWs wanted him canceled. They didn't want him fired from his job. They didn't send him death threats. But the same can't be said for Lily. Many people have sent her very graphic death threats online for saying this word that everyone was allowed to say 5 minutes ago. I'm going to read some of these threats now for you. Here we go. So we have one threat here from All Measy on Twitter saying, please, I hope someone finds you and skins you alive. Laughing face, laughing face, laughing face. And another person, I'm not sure which account this is on. Pretty sure this is TikTok. I'm not completely sure though. Says, weird B word, go get raped and skinned and gutted. I'll literally find your address and decapitate your ugly white self with a machete, you effing slut. Very tolerant of you. The very tolerant left have made very violent death threats against her for saying the N-word. Now, I've seen some of her other videos, and I gotta say, I'm not a big fan of Lily. Okay? In a video posted around the same time, she said that theater kids and kids that watch anime are losers who never got laid in high school. As if it's a bad thing to not get laid in high school, and as if we should encourage kids to have sex. That is a deeply wrong thing. It's a morally corrupt way of thinking. She also made a post saying that the N-word was her favorite word. Let's see if I can find it for you guys. So she posted that video of a guy that says the N-word a lot. And she says that this is my favorite word, exclamation mark. So, yeah, not looking too great. As much as I'm not a fan of her, and I don't really care for her character, I still think it's hypocritical of the left to hold this standard on white people, but not the same standard on black people. Moving on to the last thing, an ISIS terrorist group has just killed a bunch of Christians. So, on June 7th of this year, the International Christian Concern, posted images of members of an Islamic State West African province, or ISWAP, executed 3 Christian men in Borno State, Nigeria, are circulating on social media. So these videos are circulating on social media. One image, or these pictures are circulating. One image allegedly shared on June 4th by the Islamic State group ISIS through its propaganda outlet, Ahmed News Agency, so the ANA, shows the Christian men kneeling with their arms tied behind their back before 3 masked gunmen. Another image shows the bodies of the believers falling to the ground under a cloud of smoke from the Islamic extremist machine guns. The Islamic extremists reportedly abducted the men from a vehicle traveling along a highway that runs through the northern Nigerian state. On June 3rd, Muslim passengers were allowed to leave. The terrorists reportedly abducted a 4th passenger, but their condition is unknown at the time. The Rev, I'm going to butcher this name, Ibrahim Abako, whatever. Insert Islamic name here. Secretary of the Yobe State chapter of the Christian Association of Nigeria confirmed the death in an interview with leadership group, a Nigerian news outlet. On the behalf of the Christian Association of Nigeria, Yobe State chapter, we condemn in totally the killing of 3 Christian youth along the road, federal highway. I'm not going to say the road name because, like I said, not good at pronouncing these words. In January, ISWAP, which formed in 2016 from defectors of Boko Haram, conducted 8 attacks against Christian communities in several villages in Nigeria. During the attacks, 12 Christians were killed, while other Christians were forced to flee from their homes that ISWAP militants burned down. These attacks are part of ISIS call in January for its affiliates to kill Christians where you find them. So I just wanted to talk about that because, like I said, this is a Christian channel. I like to make biblical content as well. And I thought this would be important because no one's going to talk about this. Okay. So niche, in fact, that I literally had to dig pretty far to find something like this. But this won't make mainstream news because, like I said, it is a Muslim killing a Christian, which is okay. But if you're a Christian who insults a Muslim, very wrong. You're actually racist if you do that. But Islamic terrorists are allowed to kill Christians all they want and get away with it because we live in a backwards society. Anyways, that is going to be the end of my show. I hope you liked it. Give me your thoughts down below. Comment, like, and subscribe. I will see you guys later. Peace.